'Tis the season to set strategic goals. And with these goals, we also need to set benchmarks and metrics to measure progress and sustainability. Our sales connections expert, Shari is here to hone in on how to walk through this process with your board of directors. Hi, Shari.
Hey, Julie. This is a great topic for us to talk about these board directors. So much has changed this last year.
Absolutely, Shari. The end of 2021, the start of 2022, we're talking prime time to really lay the groundwork for the full year ahead. Shari, where should a board even start?
There's so many different areas, Julie. As we start to think about those strategic sessions, there's things like membership or donor development, diversification of our members and our board, the big topic right now, strategic partnerships, non-dues revenue. Let's just unpack that a little bit. And I like to start with even just the membership, because that's the basis so often for a board of directors is a membership if it's a nonprofit. And then you just stop and think about, who are we as an organization, right? What's the makeup of our member segments and where we want to see that growth? I think the growth of businesses and companies that really support the mission of the organization and that they have goals that enhance that membership diversity piece as well. But the question I recently had started to ask at a lot of the conferences I speak at, Julie, is do our members think of us as their go-to resource when a problem arises in their business? And that's what I really challenge board of directors to think about is, do our members think of us this way? And if not, how do we start to change that?
Absolutely. An organization is only as strong as when the members turn to you when they need you. And Shari, we know a lot of boards have gone through membership changes in and of themselves, a lot of board members coming and going, especially during the pandemic. How important is it for these organizations to really stop and look at the makeup of their own boards?
It's really key right now is, does our board represent our membership and maybe your industry or your community? Because that's very key for us to move in strategic directions. We have to have a diverse board that represents our full membership in our community or industry. So it's important to look at, are we set to grow future sustainability as well? And do we have the tools in tracking on a wide range of demographic information? And Julie, when I talk about that, what I mean is things like for your board, and do we have that diversity chart that shows the generations, right? That's a diversity piece. Race or ethnic, gender, sexual orientation, geographical. I even like to look at industry, the skill sets that are needed, influence groups, so that you have a board that has influence in the areas that you need influence in. So there's so many things a board needs to look at in diversifying themselves so that they can represent their members in the best way best way possible.
Yes, sure. You talked on a previous episode about how sometimes boards can get that tunnel vision. You focus on maybe one aspect of the mission, and then you might be missing out on things like the makeup of the board itself, could be missing out on a key area. So changes in board makeup actually could result in some new opportunities. It's not all negative here. So what are some of the positives?
Oh, it's fantastic. The more diverse members we have, or board of members we have, the more you can talk to your members, because again, generationally, let's use that as an example. When you can bring in some of that next generation onto your board, which I know a lot of organizations have or started to do, they will bring other people like them into it. They will see that there's people that look like them, that act like them on that board. So it can offer new programming opportunities. It can open up a whole sector of an industry or in a community that the organization's not had access to before.
Absolutely. And I love that you touched on generations because, think of millennials now in their 40s, 30s, late 20s, and what they could bring, the kind of fresh perspective that they can bring to a board. And also even Gen Z, as we start getting into those younger 20s, think of a board, if their mission is really focused on raising awareness in some way and maybe social media, I tend to think of some of those younger generations can really help play a role in that, just as one example. Shari, as a final thought here, any other areas that boards should be looking at in 2022?
I think, the word collaboration is so strong right now. It's always been a key piece for business, but right now I think strategic partnerships is really key. Thinking for a board, what does this currently mean to us as a board to have strategic partnerships? And where do our value partnerships exist at this point, kind of in this recovery stage, and think about what partnerships did they wish they'd had during the pandemic, but now into this next normal, what partnerships are really needed as they go forward. So again, it's a key strategy. We can't do everything ourselves. We need to be in partnership with others that can help us achieve the goals that our members need from us. And then also non-dues revenue, Julie. Right now, it's key that organizations are all looking at diversifying their revenues as well as their board.
Absolutely. A lot of lessons learned the hard way. Also, a lot of positives, a lot of silver linings that have come out of the last almost 2 years now. Shari, you've also put together a series of questions to help boards get started with their strategic planning. We're going to link to that on our website for all of you watching. Just head to expertconnections.tv and click Sales Connections. Shari, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you, Julie.